I have had several people across the social media platforms asking me about my trellis systems that I've been building here inside of the greenhouse. And as most gardeners know, a lot of these plants, like these black zucchini and these other squash varieties here, as well as these cucumbers, they'll tell you in all the books, and you may have already found out yourself, you need about a 4 foot by 4 foot area just to house one of these monsters. I don't know, maybe you're just like me. You know, I'm the type of person, I like to find out things for myself. And you can see right here, I've been getting these things to grow more vertically upright than anyone that I've ever seen. And I'm going to show you all exactly how I'm doing it. And these are just your 6 foot tall fence posts that I've been buying in 5 quantity bundles from Tractor Supply. And as for the twine that you see being used making up the trellis network, it is the 6-ply twine that I've been ordering here in the 1,000 foot rolls. And speaking of these posts, I've got to go get inside the truck and bring down the 3 more 5-pack bundles I just picked up, because I've got to install 15 more of those bad boys right now. I've now gotten the 15 new posts inside of the greenhouse. Going to head over here into the corner and grab that fence post driver and my razor knife and show you exactly what I do next. Let's quickly reference these 3 posts here. Look down here at the base, and what I'm going to have to do is basically cut out a T inside this ground cover in order for the bottom of that post to go into the ground. Now that I've gotten my razor knife handy, I also want to take a quick measurement just to see how far I've been spacing these, and they are approximately 3 inches from the perimeter edge of each planting square. I took me a little piece of chalk here and made me a little mark right here 3 inches back from the perimeter edge, but you've also got to keep in mind how wide you've got to make this first cut in order for these blades right here to be able to go inside the ground as well. And I'm going to go ahead right now and make my lines just to give me a quick reference to go by before I go down through here chopping these things up. Now that I've got my reference lines on the ground, we're ready to make some cuts. And now that we've gotten our cuts finished, it's time to set some posts. I don't actually know what these little nipples are called, but I've been putting these facing the plants and this back straight edge towards the walkway. Just try to center it as best as I possibly can with my planting squares. I try to go slow so I can attempt to keep this post as level as possible while driving it inside the ground. And you already know, now that I've gotten these 5 posts in the ground, I got to put 5 more over there, and I got to put 5 more over here, and I'll check back in with you as soon as I get that complete. I have now gotten all 15 of the new posts inside of the ground. Now let's grab the jute twine and continue running more of the trellis network system. I think I'll go ahead and start right here with our first row of tomatoes, seeing as how I have not trellised a single tomato yet. And I'm going to run this very first row of trellis very low to the ground, as you'll see right here on these other posts, maybe about 2 inches up from the ground itself. I did mention it earlier in the video, but once again, this is the 6-ply jute twine. And all I do to get started is tie me a knot down here about 2 inches from the base of the post where it's coming out of the ground. Alright, once you've gotten your knot nice and tight, I like to try to carefully pull that knot around to the front side of the post, just like that right there. Before I begin going down the right side of the row, I will go around the post up there multiple times before coming back down here and securing my final knot. Be mindful to keep it low. Now that I've gotten my twine secured up here, it's time to come back down on the low side. And I can see that I have had a mole go all the way up through these planting squares. Man, those things have been aggravating the crap out of me. And then once you're back in place here, be mindful of your plant. I like to go ahead and pull it around the post one time. And then I'll leave myself a little over 12 inches, maybe even like 18 inches of slack here. Cut it off and then secure up my final knot. It's not rocket science, boys and girls. I've just gone down the right and left side of each of the tomato plants as neatly as I possibly can. And now I'm getting ready to go through here and grabbing all of these stems that are coming outside and begin bringing them up through that trellis network. And now that I have very carefully crawled all the way up this aisle, taking note of all of these stems that were coming outward, I've been bringing them up inside of the trellis network just as I stated, and I've also noted that I've got a couple of extra tomato plants growing that I didn't even know that I had. And now that I have carefully brought those stems up inside the first layer of the trellis network, I've got to get the jute twine and run a second layer of trellis network, which just happens to be a repeat of what we just did moments ago. I'm going to come up about 2 more inches above that previous row of trellis, and now I'm going to tie another knot and begin taking my jute twine down and wrapping it around that post, coming back down and securing my second layer of the trellis network. I'm hoping you can see clearly right there where I've gotten you positioned, how I've gotten these 2 sides of the trellis network literally just hugged up against the plant. I got these tomato plants, once again, 1 plant per planting square, located center in each of the planting squares. And now that I've gotten this second layer of the trellis network installed, once again, I'm going to come up this row as gently as possible, just lightly bringing these stems up inside of the trellis network. There's one of the extra tomato plants right there. I've got to plant somewhere else. Hopefully you'll be able to see now I've gotten the first 2 rows complete on the tomatoes. Notice how I'm bringing those stems up inside of those 2 rows. And now I'm going to continue doing just as I've already done and continue running even more and more of these jute trellis lines. There's no telling how many more that I've got to run. Guys, I sure hope this video has been informative to you. Hopefully you now understand how you too can maximize the growing efficiency of the space that you are already growing inside. Thank you for tuning in to another one of my garden videos. Hopefully you're enjoying all the progress that you're seeing inside of the new high tunnel greenhouse. I appreciate your time as I always do. I thank you for being here, and I can't wait to talk to each of you inside that next video.